Revealed. 7. Miraculous keys to activate divine feminine energy for love, abundance, and blessings. In the heart of a quaint English village, Mary's prayers reverberated through the solemn air of St. Mary's Church. Flickering candlelight danced like angels, illuminating the altar where she knelt, tears streaming down her cheeks. A terrible weight pressed upon her family, bills piled high, the specter of poverty looming close. Yet, as she implored the heavens for help, something extraordinary happened. A soft, radiant warmth enveloped her, whispering of divine secrets. 7 keys to a profound empowerment lay within her grasp. Embrace love, embrace abundance, it seemed to echo. With each breath, she felt the divine feminine energy awaken, pulsating like a gentle rhythm through her. The walls of despair crumbled as revelation lit her path, but her newfound zeal met resistance. Her husband's furrowed brow signaled doubt, and unchecked skepticism shrouded her friends. "It's foolishness, Mary," they would say, eyes narrowing. "You're chasing shadows." But as her heart swelled with faith, she knew she stood at the cusp of a heavenly transformation. Disdain turned to despair when Thomas, her husband, fell sick. Fevered and restless, he struggled against the shadows creeping in on their fragile existence. Grief clawed at Mary's heart, a vice of isolation tightening its grip. She found herself alone in her hours of need, the whispers of divine guidance shushed by others' skepticism. Still, she clung to the sacred calling that pulsed fiercely within her. A pivotal community gathering was arranged, meant to lift spirits and bolster hope in hard times. Villagers clustered, uncertainty thick in the air, but Mary stood in quiet resolve, ready to unveil her miraculous discoveries. As she shared her experience of the divine feminine energy, eyes fluttered with interest, tepid at first, but soon igniting into fervor. Then in an instant, a palpable presence filled the room. Gasps followed as Mary prayed. Light cascaded like liquid gold around her, swirling with an energy that belonged to the heavens. Before the collective gaze, Thomas stirred as though jolted awake, his eyes opened, bright, and clarity sweeping away despair. "Mary, what just happened?" he whispered, disbelief mingling with awe. Tears of joy flowed freely, mixed with cries of hallelujah from stunned villagers. This moment, this miracle, reignited the hopes buried beneath doubt. The air crackled with wonder, hearts swelling to fill with faith once more. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Mary gazed upon her husband, restored, vibrant, her spirit soared. Inspiration flooded her heart, and she felt called to share the 7 miraculous keys that had unlocked divine energy within. Each key echoed biblical truths and offered the promise of love, abundance, and boundless blessings. The church transformed into a sanctuary once again, a bubbling cauldron of faith where villagers celebrated with prayers, laughter, and dreams reborn. Yet, just as the tide of hope surged, an enigmatic shadow loomed. Mary understood the keys were not merely her own. They were meant to awaken every soul in the village to a divine calling. Was this only the beginning of a grand awakening? A revival of faith was on the horizon, and all were invited to unlock the mystery of their potential. What miracles still awaited them? The village stood at the threshold, hearts alive with anticipation, yearning for the next divine revelation. As the days passed, the whispers of Mary's healing prayer began to ripple through the village like a fresh breeze. With Thomas recovering, and the once thick fog of doubt dissipating, a flicker of hope ignited in the hearts of villagers. They began gathering more frequently at St. Mary's Church, not just for prayers, but to learn about the 7 miraculous keys that Mary had discovered. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and curiosity, each person eager to uncover their unique blessings. Mary prepared herself, her heart a mix of joy and trepidation, as she stood before her fellow villagers once more. The old wooden pulpit creaked under her weight, an anchor of comfort amidst her resolve. She could feel the vibrant energy surrounding her, as if the very walls listened intently, holding their breath. "Let us embrace this divine light together," she said, her voice steady yet filled with warmth. "The first key is love, an unending love that flows from the heart of our Creator. Let it wash over us, let it envelop us, for in love we find healing." As she spoke, the congregation shifted closer, their spirits rising. Some closed their eyes, allowing the love she described to fill their souls. A beautiful energy pulsed in the room, palpable and soothing, wrapping around their weary hearts like a father's embrace. Then came the second key, abundance. Mary, with each word, painted vivid pictures of a bountiful life, one filled not just with treasures but with gratitude, joy, and relationships that ignited the spirit. Abundance, she declared, is not merely wealth. It is the richness of connection, the sharing of laughter, and the blessing of a meal among loved ones. Nods and murmurs of agreement echoed through the church, a collective acceptance of the truth Mary revealed. But lingering shadows still lurked on the edges. Skepticism whispered louder than before among a few, those still anchored in their doubts. Mary noticed their guarded expressions, their arms crossed tightly as if to shield themselves from vulnerability. She felt an urgent call of compassion swell within her. "Brothers and sisters," she beckoned gently, "I know that there are burdens we all carry. Doubt can cast dark shadows, but make room for faith, for the light shines brightest in darkness. Let us not forget that faith is a journey, not a destination." At the back of the room, Mrs. Hargrove, known for her unwavering frown, blinked back tears. "I've lost my way," she confessed, voice trembling. "How can I believe when everything has fallen apart?" A hush fell over the villagers as they turned their gaze to Mary, waiting for her response. "Sometimes," Mary responded slowly, "we must allow ourselves to fall apart, to break open. In that space, God can pour in the newness we need. Embrace your cracks. They are where the light gets in." A murmur of understanding washed over the congregation. As the gathering continued, Mary shared stories woven through the fabric of faith and revealed more keys to this divine empowerment. The atmosphere transformed, spilling over with prayers mixed with laughter, revitalized connections blooming even in the face of doubt. Suddenly, a palpable sense of community surged as the village united, not just as believers, but as family. Then, just as the evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over their sacred space, a tremor vibrated through the ground. Gasps filled the air. "What was that?" someone whispered. Mary paused, heart racing. Could this stir be a sign? A divine confirmation of their newfound journey? A stirring of miracles yet to unfold? The atmosphere thickened with anticipation, each person drawn into the mystery, yearning to gather strength from the unknown. "Faith," Mary said softly, glancing into each eye, "is the promise of things unseen. What more will we discover together?" As they all stood, breath held in sacred unity, the moment suspended in divine promise, deep within their hearts, a question resonated alongside a hope. What awaits when divine energy collides with unyielding faith? The ground settled, and a warm breeze whispered through the church, carrying with it a scent of renewal. Each villager, heart still racing from the tremor, exchanged glances laced with wonderment and trepidation. Mary felt the weight of their gaze, heavy yet electric, and she sensed the divine presence intertwining with their expectancy. Just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting crimson streaks across the stained glass, Mary knew this moment was pivotal. "Let us gather our strength," she spoke, her voice resonating with a newfound urgency. "The keys I share are meant to unlock pathways to deeper understanding and connection. The third key is faith, an unwavering belief in what is yet to come." The murmurs quieted down as Mary shared her heart. Faith isn't a blind leap, it is stepping forward with trust. It is knowing, in the very marrow of our bones, that God works through every situation, even when we don't grasp His hand. Her words flowed like a gentle stream, weaving through the crowd, softening their resolve. Mrs. Hargrove, trembling still from her earlier admission, whispered, "But how do we keep our faith strong?" "By nurturing our connection," Mary replied, "through prayer, fellowship, and acts of kindness. Faith grows in the soil of community. When we share our stories, our challenges and victories, we weave a tapestry that reflects the reality of His love." An elderly man named Mr. Pratt, known for his quiet demeanor, nodded. "I often feel so alone. How can I remember this faith when the nights grow dark? Remember, Mary encouraged with open arms, no night is too dark when you carry the light of hope within you. Reach out to those around you. Your faith can illuminate their darkness, just as theirs can guide you. As she spoke, energy pulsed through the congregation. A tangible feeling of shared understanding lingered, thickening like honey in the air. This new hope ignited something within them as they began to open like flowers reaching for the sun. With her heart full, Mary's spirit soared. She eagerly introduced the fourth key, stillness. In a world so chaotic, we must find moments to pause. Stillness allows us to hear His whispers, to receive guidance, and to reflect on our blessings. She invited everyone to close their eyes and breathe deeply. They sat together, grounded in that sacred stillness, tuned to the rhythm of grace. Time stretched, and in that silence something remarkable happened. Soft gasps echoed as gentle warmth enveloped the room. Light shimmered around them, an echo of Mary's peaceful energy, the essence of love, faith, and stillness intertwining. When they opened their eyes, a sense of unity blanketed the church. People smiled, touched by the shared experience, a glimpse of the divine. Just then, a younger voice from the back called, "What's the next key, Mary? Is there more?" Her heart swelled with joy. In their yearning, they were reaching for transformation. Yes, my dear friend, there is more. The fifth key is surrender, a willingness to let go of our fears and open our arms to the divine plan. The church erupted in murmurs. Mary felt their energies shift, the air vibrating with anticipation of the revelations yet to come. And as the evening wore on, each heart echoed an unspoken yearning. What must they surrender to discover the fullness of God's purpose? The answers lingered in the air like a melody waiting to be played. With the murmurs still swirling in the air, Mary felt the weight of the moment pressing closer. The church, once a quiet shelter, had become a vibrant vessel for divine revelation. As she looked at the faces illuminated by flickering candlelight, she saw a blend of hope, confusion, and fervent desire. They yearned for the truth behind her words, the full meaning of surrender. "Surrender," she began, letting the word hang in the air like a prayer. "It's not giving up. It's letting go of our need to control outcomes. It is trusting that God has a perfect plan for each of us, far beyond what we can see." The crowd responded with nods, some taking slow breaths, absorbing this profound truth. Mary knew surrender could be terrifying, the release of their tightly held dreams and fears, but she also understood its beauty. In giving up control, they could open themselves to something greater. And the sixth key, she continued, her voice steadying, is gratitude. Gratitude transforms our hearts and places us in alignment with God. It teaches us to appreciate the small blessings, opening doors for the larger ones. A flicker of energy crackled among the villagers as they recalled their own blessings. The soft laughter of children playing, the hard-earned yield from the fields, the warmth of friendship. "Let us practice gratitude," Mary urged. "Take a moment to remember a blessing in your life, however small." With eyes shining like stars, the villagers began to share softly. "I am grateful for the laughter of my grandchildren," Mrs. Hargrove whispered. "I am grateful for the beauty of this land," Mr. Pratt added with a tremor in his voice. Each word built the tapestry of their community, weaving connections that ran deeper than mere acquaintance. As they expressed their gratitude, a shimmering peace settled over the room. Mary felt it too, an overwhelming tide of warmth and love flowing through them, binding their hearts in something sacred. "And what follows is the seventh key," Mary addressed the congregation with a gentle smile. "It is love, the most powerful force in the universe. To love and be loved is to live in the fullness of God's design. We must cultivate love in our hearts, allowing it to overflow into the world around us." The villagers sat in silence, absorbing the weight of her words. Love was not just a feeling, it was an action, a commitment, a way of life. Mary radiated the truth, and they felt it penetrate their very beings. As a soft hum filled the church, Mary sensed that they were teetering on the edge of a great revelation. Each individual was being called to not only embrace these keys, but to unlock the secrets hidden within their own lives. Suddenly, a soft cry broke through the reverie. It was a child, face alight with wonder. "What happens when we use the keys, Mary? What will change?" That question hung heavy in the air, rippling with expectation. Everyone leaned forward, hearts racing as they awaited answers. Mary took a moment, sensing the divine energy swirling around them, urging her to speak. Each key reveals more of the divine purpose within us. When we embrace faith, surrender, gratitude, and love, we awaken something far beyond ourselves. We embark on a journey of transformation. With a heartbeat echoing in the silence, she finished, "What new doors will open when we step into His design? What divine mysteries await?" The church sat in stillness, hearts open to the unfolding possibilities. Each soul was eager to discover the changes that awaited them on this sacred path. The church held its breath, a collective heartbeat pulsing with anticipation. Mary took a moment to scan the anxious faces before her, each one a canvas of longing and hope. Could they truly grasp the depth of their own transformation? The flickering candlelight seemed to flicker more brightly, as if echoing her thoughts. "Change, my dear friends," she said slowly, drawing them in, "comes from within. With the keys we've talked about, we unlock more than just our potential. We unlock our hearts to the true nature of God's love." She could feel their energy shifting, a delicate promise of awakening shimmering in the air. A man in the back, Tom, the village carpenter, raised his hands. "Mary, what does that look like in everyday life? It sounds lovely, but how do we live it?" Mary smiled, relishing the willingness to ask. "It's in the small everyday choices. Every moment we choose positivity over despair, compassion over judgment, we're living our faith," she continued, her tone growing fervent. "When you wake up each morning, thank God for the breath in your lungs. Let your first thought be one of gratitude. In doing so, you invite His presence into your day." They were hanging on her words, their eyes wide, spirits igniting. "And love," she added passionately. "Love, my friends, doesn't just happen to us. We create it. It's in a smile shared with a neighbor, a kind word to a stranger. It's the glue that binds our community together." A soft murmuring broke out as people began to share stories. Sarah, who had recently lost her husband, stood up. "I didn't know it was possible to love again after loss. But in those quiet moments, I felt Him still with me, and it makes me want to share that love with others." Her voice broke slightly, but warmth spread through the room. The atmosphere was thick with emotion. Mary could feel a gentle wave of connection rise as each voice echoed the same truth. Love was not bound by death. It flourished in remembrance and action. "Yes, Sarah, you're embodying the change," Mary encouraged. Her heart warmed as it resonated with their shared experience. "Your love expands now to everyone around you. It's in the way you listen, the way you offer a helping hand. That's the transformation we seek." The congregation began to smile and nod, tears mingling with the light in their eyes. They realized their struggles could become their strengths, that their brokenness could lead to deeper connections. As their spirits soared, a hush fell once again. The flickers of candlelight seemed to dance in rhythm with their hearts. Mary sensed a divine presence wrapping around them, a palpable joy that enveloped every soul. "Remember," Mary said, her voice rising with fervor, "every key we've discussed leads us back to love. Will you embrace this challenge? Will you share your love as a reflection of His?" Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, hands clasping in resolve. The murmurs became a chorus of commitment, resonating through the ancient wooden beams of the church. "Together we can break barriers, encourage each other, and build a community filled with love, abundance, and blessings." She raised her arms, feeling the spiritual movement surge around them, a pulsing reminder of their united purpose. As the candles flickered once more, they were reminded of the gentle light that would guide them forward on this path. "But," she declared, leaning into the intensity of the moment, "we must remember the importance of sustaining this journey. Each day is a step, a choice. Are you willing to meet the challenges that come?" A soft gasp spread through the congregation, eyes widening with the realization that this was just the beginning of their transformative journey. "What awaits you at the next crossroads?" Mary whispered, her voice barely above a breath. A fervent hush fell over the crowd, a holy pulse reverberating in the silence. Each soul stood poised on the verge of a new revelation. What would be revealed to them next? As the echoes of Mary's voice faded into the sacred space, a gentle stillness prevailed. It was as if time itself paused to give weight to their collective reflection. The flickering candlelight cast shadows that danced upon the old stone walls, creating a tapestry of light and dark, mirroring the duality within each heart. Suddenly, a whisper broke through the hush. Rebecca, a single mother, stood up. Her voice trembled with vulnerability. "Mary," she began, "I've always felt like I'm alone in this. How can I nurture love and abundance when I can barely make ends meet?" Her question resonated with many, a reminder of the burdens they carried. Mary stepped forward, her heart swelling with compassion. "Rebecca, dear sister, love doesn't always come wrapped in abundance. Sometimes it is found in the quiet moments, the shared smiles that lift your spirit. Remember, you are never alone." Mary's eyes sparkled with emotion as she continued, "Abundance is not just about wealth. It's the joy found in a shared meal, the laughter of children, and the support of community. When you embrace this understanding, you begin to welcome the fullness of life." A sense of comfort spread through the room, like a warm blanket on a chilly evening. Spirits were being lifted, and hope began to blossom anew. Then from the back a deep voice rose. It was Marcus, the local baker. "But Mary, what if I've forgotten how to love myself? Can I really reflect that love outward?" His question hung in the air, filled with unspoken pain. "Ah, Marcus," Mary replied gently, "self-love is the first key, the cornerstone that anchors us. When we accept ourselves, flaws and all, we become vessels of divine love. Allow God to see you as He sees you, beautifully and wonderfully made. That self-acceptance is what transforms your spirit and, in turn, how you love others." With those words, a wave of understanding swept over the congregation. Many closed their eyes for a moment, absorbing the truth that self-love wasn't selfish. It was sacred. Mary took a deep breath, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. It is time to invite those divine keys into our hearts. One key is forgiveness. Hold on to it tightly, for the weight of unforgiveness stifles joy. Let it go. Forgiving others frees our hearts. And you know what? We must also forgive ourselves. Heads nodded in agreement, the simplicity of her words striking deep chords. As the conversation flowed, they began to share stories of forgiveness, of letting go of past hurts. Laughter and tears mingled like fresh rain upon parched earth, each drop nourishing their spirits. A few moments later, a voice rang out, filled with curiosity. It was Hannah, a shy teenager who had been listening intently. "Mary, what if we are afraid? How do we overcome fear to unlock these keys?" Her question sank into the hearts around her. "Fear is natural," Mary acknowledged. "It often shrouds our hearts like fog. But remember, love dispels fear. Embrace your fears. Confront them with faith. Instead of retreating, run toward the light of God's promise. When you embrace love, fear cannot hold you back." A newfound courage sparked in the congregation as they realized that fear did not have to dictate their actions. They could lean into love and overcome their battles. The atmosphere pulsed with energy, as if the air itself was charged with electric anticipation. Mary felt their enthusiasm echoing through the very core of her being. "We're on the brink of something magnificent, my friends. By sharing these keys, we transform our community. But what happens when we actually live it?" The question hung heavily as the congregation contemplated their individual choices. Are you ready to step forward and embrace the light, even when shadows loom? Mary's words reverberated within them, awakening a restless longing for deeper connection and love. Outside, the world moved on, uncertain, chaotic, but within the church, a sacred revolution was brewing. "What new miracles will unfold if we fully unlock these keys?" Mary gently prompted, her eyes alight with the fervor of divine possibility. The candle flames flickered anew, casting elongated shadows that whispered the promise of change. A fresh wave of silence followed, pregnant with hope. Each member of the congregation stood at the precipice of something greater, holding their breath, ready to take the next step into the divine unknown. What awaits them as they dare to open their hearts even wider? With collective hearts held aloft, a quiet reverence enveloped the room, wrapping them in a sacred embrace. The flickering candlelight danced whimsically, illuminating faces filled with yearning and possibility. It felt as though the very presence of God swirled among them, breathing life into their dreams and desires. Mary, sensing the sacred energy pulsating through the air, lifted her hands. "Let us now enter a space of prayerful intention. Close your eyes, beloveds. Let us seek the whispers of the divine." The congregation complied, drawing inward. Each soul started to echo their deepest desires, their prayers weaving a beautiful tapestry that reached upward like fragrant smoke rising to the heavens. One by one, thoughts took flight, longings for peace, joy, healing, and deeper connections. Hannah, still filled with wonder, peered beyond the depths of her heart. "Mary," she suddenly exclaimed, her voice breaking the tranquil atmosphere. "What if our keys were not just for ourselves? What if they held the power to unlock the chains of others, those who walk this world lost in darkness?" Mary turned towards her, eyes sparkling with inspiration. "Ah, dear Hannah, that is the very essence of love. When we embrace our keys, we reflect the light to others. Our self-acceptance becomes a beacon of hope, and our forgiveness, a bridge to reconnect broken relationships. In our journeys, we carry the power to illuminate dark paths for those still searching." Soft whispers of agreement filled the hall as they absorbed the profound truth of her words. The realization rippled through them. Each held the potential to be a catalyst for change. With an exuberant spirit, Rebecca raised her hand. "Mary, I want to be a vessel of love and abundance. How can I start today?" "Ah, Rebecca," Mary smiled warmly. "Begin small. It's in the little acts that the most significant shifts happen. Offer kindness to a stranger, share your time, and allow your heart to be your guide. Pay attention to the souls around you. Each act of love sends waves of transformation rippling beyond your immediate reach." The room filled with murmurs of encouragement and shared aspirations. They began to feel the pull of connection, a sense of kinship growing among them. Yet, as they shared this sacred moment, the faint sound of footsteps echoed from outside the church, interrupting the flow. The door creaked open, revealing an elderly man, weary and lost. His clothes were tattered, and his eyes held the weight of countless sorrows. Without hesitation, Mary stepped forward. "Beloved, you are welcome here. Please, join us." The congregation looked on, hearts opening further. It was the perfect moment to unleash their newfound keys. "Thank you," the man replied softly, shuffling in, uncertain yet yearning. He took a seat in the front, pulling together the last thread of courage. "What's your name?" Mary asked gently, her voice wrapped in warmth. "Thomas," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've come seeking a reason to hope again." Gathering courage from the depth of their shared experience, the congregation leaned forward, ready to offer Thomas the very love they had begun to embrace within themselves. "Thomas, we are all on this journey together," Mary affirmed. "You are not alone anymore. We speak of keys to love and light today. Would you allow us to share these divine gifts with you?" As Thomas nodded slowly, doubt melting away, the congregation surged with hope, understanding that they were about to witness another miracle unfold. The candle flames flickered more fervently, ignited by the collective faith in the room, as they prepared to offer all that they had learned. The question hung in the air, poised for answers yet to manifest. Would their embrace of love and kindness unlock the doors of a new beginning for Thomas and the community at large? What transformations awaited as they took this leap of faith, standing together in the light of divine promise? As Thomas sat among them, a gentle hush fell over the congregation. Each face radiated warmth, eager to share in the spirit of hope that was now filling the air. Mary, with the same radiant smile, beckoned them closer, sensing the sacred moment was approaching. "Let us gather around Thomas, beloveds," she instructed softly, her voice carrying the weight of love. "Let us surround him with our light, our prayers, and our hearts. Let us unlock the first key together." The community shifted as one, forming a protective circle around the weary soul. Thomas's eyes glimmered with unspoken longing, yet the flicker of fear lingered still. The flickering candlelight continued its dance, casting shadows that seemed to whisper encouragement. "Can any of you tell us a time when you felt lost but found your way through the embrace of kindness?" Mary invited. The question hung in the air, creating an opening for shared stories of grace. Rebecca, energized by the moment, stepped forward. "I remember a time when I felt completely alone, as if the weight of the world pressed down on my shoulders. Someone reached out to me with a simple smile and a kind word. It felt like a light piercing through my darkness." Nods of understanding rippled through the group. Hannah chimed in next. "And I was once on the verge of despair. A stranger at a bus stop noticed my tears and offered me their scarf. Such a small gesture, yet it shifted something inside of me. It reminded me I was seen." As each person shared their stories, the warmth in the room intensified. It became a wave of energy that enveloped Thomas. He listened intently, the flames of hope igniting within him. Mary turned to Thomas, cradling his heart with her words. Thomas, you see, these keys to love we speak of are real. They're not just ideas, they are living actions. When we are vulnerable, we unlock the possibility for others to connect with us, to love us just as we are. The congregation leaned in, their hearts harmonizing in a collective rhythm of understanding. They sensed the divine presence knitting them closer together, each revealing their own path to healing and connection. "What do you dream of, Thomas?" Mary asked, her voice tender, like a mother comforting a child. He hesitated at first, emotions swirling within him. "I dream of belonging, of feeling valued. I want to release this heavy sense of shame." At his words, the room softened. Mary felt the weight of his sorrow hovering in the air, and with a steady voice she exclaimed, "Let us all join in prayer for Thomas as we lift our hearts in unison. Let's fill this space with love, prayers for joy and healing." As they bowed their heads, the energy in the room transformed, weaving together the threads of compassion and grace. The candle flames brightened, as if acknowledging their collective spirit rising like incense. With each word shared in prayer, Thomas felt a powerful shift within. A warmth blossomed in his chest, a flicker of light chasing away shadows of despair. After the prayer had lingered, Mary lifted her gaze to the group with infinite patience. "What if we take this moment further? Imagine stepping outside these walls, taking these keys into the world. How can we unlock the burdens of those around us?" Excited murmurs filled the room. The vision of love moved beyond themselves, seeking others to embrace. As the congregation dared to envision the potential of their actions, Thomas felt something stirring. Was this the hope he sought? Could they truly embrace those lost in shadows? Mary's eyes sparkled with possibility. She knew that their journey was just beginning, that they had unlocked the first of many miraculous keys. The air shimmered with anticipation as Thomas steadied himself. He sensed that divine energy was only beginning to unveil its wonders. Would this moment lead to more revelations? And could they discover even greater miracles waiting for them just beyond the horizon? As the silence hung, a palpable excitement filled the air. Thomas could feel the warmth of his gathered friends, their hopes mingling with his own. Mary's voice, like a gentle breeze, broke through the thoughts swirling in his mind. "Let's open our hearts and envision our paths forward. Each key we share today might not only unlock our own burdens, but also set free those we encounter." Thomas looked around, each face glowing with a shared dream of connection. He could sense the reverence in the room, the sacredness of the moment pulsing like a heartbeat. "Who will take the next step?" someone softly called out, breaking the stillness. It was Benjamin, his voice steady yet filled with a childlike wonder. "What if we each find a way to share a random act of kindness this week? Just like those stories we shared? Imagine how many lives we can touch." The group erupted with enthusiasm. Thomas's heart raced. Could he really join in, share kindness without fear of judgment? Mary smiled, her eyes sparkling like the morning sun. Each act, no matter how small, is a key that unlocks our potential to love and heal. Slowly, a sense of courage blossomed within Thomas. "I can do that," he whispered at first, but then aloud, stronger, "I can be that kindness in someone's life." "Absolutely," Mary affirmed, stepping closer. "But remember, kindness also begins within. Let's take a moment to reflect. What is one kindness you can extend to yourself?" The room grew quiet again. Thomas thought deeply. "I could forgive myself for the mistakes I've made," he finally admitted. "I've held on to regret for too long." A ripple of understanding passed through the group. "That's a powerful realization, Thomas. Forgiveness is a key that opens many doors," Rebecca said, her voice a soothing balm. As they shared thoughts and reflections, each person began to share their keys, words of compassion, self-love, and understanding. The candle flames danced higher with every shared insight, lighting up the corners of the room with hope. The atmosphere felt charged with divine energy. "What if we also think of those outside these walls who may need a little light?" Mary asked, her voice drawing everyone's focus back to her. "Can we start a chain of kindness, reaching families, neighbors, even strangers?" "Yes!" The group rallied together, voices rising in determined agreement. Thomas could feel the resolve growing within him. This was more than just talk. It was a commitment to change, a chance to be the light in a darkened world. Mary closed her eyes for a moment, letting the energy settle. Let each of us take a moment to pray, ask for guidance on how we can show love in unexpected ways. As they bowed their heads once more, the warmth enveloped them, like a soft blanket. Thomas felt a surge of gratitude. He was no longer alone. They were all in this together, brave souls ready to step into the light. In that stillness, Thomas quietly whispered his prayers. He asked for courage, for strength to forgive, and for the wisdom to understand his purpose. With each breath, he felt the doubt slip away, replaced with a sense of belonging that filled him with peace. When they opened their eyes, Mary's gaze was bright with divine spark. Now let us not just imagine, but commit to one small act in the coming week. Let's make it a practice, and let's come back together to share what we've learned. The congregation murmured with excitement, and Thomas felt an unshakable hope rise within him. They had embarked on a journey together, unlocking potential beyond their wildest dreams. But as their laughter and discussions grew, a lingering thought shadowed the edges of Thomas's mind. What if their journey led them to unexpected trials? Would they remain steadfast even when faced with the unknown? The questions hovered, promising deeper revelations just ahead. As time flowed like a sacred river through the village, the atmosphere around St. Mary's Church shimmered with promise. Each villager, gathered in earnestness, prepared their hearts to witness the unfolding of divine revelations. Mary stood before them, a radiant vessel filled with hope and abundant love, ready to bring forth the final keys to the transformation that beckoned. Beloved friends, Mary's voice soared above the gentle murmur of anticipation. After all we've shared, we stand at the brink of a magnificent awakening. How can we harness the power of these keys for not just us, but for our community, for the world? Each villager leaned forward, their breaths synchronized in collective yearning. Thomas, no longer that lost soul, felt courage blossom in his heart. He had felt the weight of their shared journey, each story binding them closer, igniting a burning desire to act. The time has come to fully embrace our calling, Mary continued, her eyes sparkling with divine light. As we step forward in love, we unlock not only our own potential, but become beacons for those enveloped in darkness. We must share our keys, and that starts today. Gasps of wonder rippled through the gathering. Mary caught the spark of inspiration igniting in her beloved community. Think of one person, she urged, her voice steady, who you can reach with love and kindness. The seventh key is action, a conscious choice to bring forth what we've learned. Let's take our inner light and extend it outward. The villagers exchanged glances, and it was Ben who blurted out, I know a neighbor who's been struggling. I'll bring them a meal and invite them to the next gathering. A wave of excitement surged, and others chimed in with their own intentions. I'll call my old friend. She needs a listening ear, one woman declared, her words ringing with purpose. Mary felt the energy shift, the collective resolve rising like the sun at dawn. Beautiful. Each small act stirs a ripple of change. Together we will create an exponential wave of love. Thomas's heart raced as clarity washed over him. He envisioned a day when they all gathered together, recounting their acts of kindness, deepening the bonds they forged in the crucible of love. He stood, lifting his hands toward Mary. I'll create a kindness board at the church where we can share our stories. It'll remind us all of our commitments. An excellent idea, Thomas, Mary exclaimed, joy radiating from her. Your courage will inspire others, and together we'll feed the fire of our community's growth. As they brainstormed and shared, the church erupted in laughter and chatter, the air heavy with blessings. Mary reveled in the spirit igniting her beloved village. Each villager now embodied the energy of the keys. But then a thoughtful silence fell. Mrs. Hargrove, still holding her heart tenderly, spoke up, a tremor in her voice. What if we falter? What if challenges come our way, temptations to despair? Mary stepped forward, wrapping the community in tender assurance. Ah, dear sister, remember that transformation doesn't always come easy, but it's in those moments of struggle that our faith can flourish. We lean on one another to stay strong. Tears welled in the eyes of many as they absorbed this wisdom. Exactly, Thomas added, we will bear each other's burdens, fueling hope in moments of doubt. A warm glow settled in the congregation, the divine strongly present as they felt each other's hearts beating together. They were vulnerable, yet empowered, ready to face the uncertainties. Before we conclude, Mary prompted, voice rising once more, let's take a moment to pray together. Let us ask for strength in our commitments, courage to face our trials, and grace to illuminate those still searching for their way, a devotion to spreading our light. With heads bowed, their shared presence enveloped the church. A symphony of mutual prayers rose with the flickering flames, pure intentions swirling into the heavens. As they closed their eyes, Mary softly prayed, Heavenly Father, guide us as we embrace this divine mission. Strengthen our spirits to fulfill our commitments and let our love flow outwards, lighting the paths of those who need it most. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. The congregation echoed, hearts soaring in unity. As they opened their eyes, warmth radiated through the ancient walls, resonating with the love ignited within them. They were charged, soul to soul, embers of divine energy, now ready to be released into the world. May you go forth in faith, Mary exclaimed. Carry our keys with you, not just today but every day. Repeat your commitments, spread kindness, share the love you so beautifully embraced in this sacred space. She beamed, feeling the collective strength emanating from them, a holy resolution ready to pave the way for countless miracles. The villagers, hearts intertwined, stepped forward into the new dawn, leaving the church with fire in their hearts and the keys in their hands. Each of them had made a promise under the divine canopy, ready to awaken their village and beyond, transforming lives through love, abundance, and faith. This was not just a chapter closed, it was the beginning of a magnificent journey. Now, as this beloved story finds its way to you, we call upon you, dear friends. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show that you value these divine testimonies. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. True servants of God understand the need to support this channel. Don't wait even one more second.